Hey my dear patrons, it's me Vivian and you're watching a Patreon only video. The idea or the goal for this video is to have a wax sealing in the background and then me talking. I want to tell you guys some things, just random little things, and I also want to talk you through my week, which is what I would normally do in one of those super long Sunday sneak peek blog posts. But because I have quite a lot to tell you, I thought it would also be fun to do a spoken version of that for once. Probably also it's nice to have a bit of a change every now and then. And of course I've been hoping and meaning to do extra videos for Patreon, but that is something that I've been wanting to do for a while. By the way, don't you love that wax seal? The color combination is making me very happy. But I basically I didn't know where to start with these videos because I want to do extra content, but I don't know yet like how much time I should invest in this, because like how much time can I spend on Patreon, how much time can I spend on YouTube? It's all a bit of a question mark. And also I of course don't know what you guys would like to see. I know a lot of you are very, very cool and calm in telling me, Vivian, anything you do is fine. We will either watch it or we don't. But I would like to kind of tailor it to the audience that I have on Patreon. And in my opinion, as far as I am aware, most of the people who are my patrons are also here for me being a chatty lady. So I was thinking of making the Patreon only videos a combination of something fun craft wise as well as just little life updates and chatting. But let me know like if you receive a notification from Patreon from a new video of mine, would you watch it regardless of the content, or would you prefer a tutorial? Would you prefer something calm and kind of simple like a wax seal video, or would you prefer something a little bit more elaborate? Would you prefer short or long? I mean, I want to know it all, because Patreon is a way for me to help my channel grow, but I also want to give back, as in I'm so happy that you all decided to support me. I kind of want to tailor the content to what you guys would like to see. So don't feel shy to let me know. If you don't want to leave a comment down below, you can also of course message me or email me, or anything is fine as long as you guys are feeling comfortable. So I'm here now. I actually have a new tea to try. I'm chatty, so why not talk about tea? Because a couple days ago I did a tea swap. I haven't done one of those in ages, but we have this Dutch swapper group, and the main reason, it's kind of silly, but the main reason I host swaps in that group is because I want to inspire more Dutch people to make meal, and I'm kind of hoping that if I make a fun little swap every once in a while, it'll inspire people to continue sending out happy meal. I know that's silly, but that's just a kind of a dream. Not that I'm like an influencer or something, but meal has brought me so much. It's like my happy place, and I kind of am hoping to motivate as many people as I possibly can to find their happy place too. So I organized a loose leaf tea swap. Sadly, people weren't really interested in it, so it was just the three of us, but that's okay because I got to send some of my favorite tea to someone, and I also received some of. The combination is a bit weird. It's green tea with cinnamon and orange, and then some chai spices such as cardamom and black pepper, but it's quite nice. It's actually a lot more summery than I would have expected. So I guess that's why one of these things is good as well. I get out of my comfort zone. You all know I love tea. But what I'm also wanting to do is of course talk you through my week. For once I've had a pretty full week. I've actually had some social days, so I actually have something to tell you. If you hear this sound in the background, I'm just grabbing my planner because I would like to do this kind of chronologically and I don't want to forget anything. Plus, any excuse to flip through my new planner is very welcome, because I'm in love. I have a new happy planner. I will also include some pictures in the Sneak Peek Sunday post. I have a happy planner now. I'm also doing a flip through on YouTube, which I'm hoping I have uploaded by the time you listen to this. And it's a happy planner, and it's a kind of a small one, but it's so nice. It's already decorated, but I can still add like little stickers and stuff. And up until now, my decorations are kind of simple, but I like it. I love the colors. It's blue and green, and it has copper and orange. I don't even like orange, but it's actually really, really pretty. So if you haven't seen the flip through yet, you can watch it on YouTube, hopefully now. And if not, it will be online very soon. But see, I should make longer videos because I'm getting so distracted by talking about random things alone. But okay. First, of course, I had 3 days of working this week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, my standard days. And then I now also have Saturday as a standard day. But luckily, this week, someone else was in that shift because the guy who makes the rosters kind of forgot that it was my standard day. But for once, I'm actually pretty happy because I needed my weekend off. I went back to work on Monday, of course, after being gone for a week for my grandmother's funeral. And I have to admit, in the beginning, it was kind of rough. Like, the world goes on, even though you're going through something that's kind of emotional and sad. And it was really weird to be back because even though I had only been gone for 6 days, it really took me a while to get used to like the noise. I wouldn't say noise, like the busyness. Like, restaurants are busy and crowded, and colleagues and everyone is like running around, and it felt like everyone was going at 100% speed and I was going at 75% speed. I was just really in need of some time to adjust again. It's kind of silly, but I guess it makes sense because for an entire week I had been surrounded by people grieving, and I was grieving, and like for an entire week I had been so busy focusing on the past almost, and like thinking about my grandmother, talking about my grandmother, and also smiling a lot because of her, because it's not all sadness, it's also a lot of good memories. But then to be back at work, it was really like work and I were not on the same level. Like, I felt like I was my mind was elsewhere, basically. So, but that's okay as well. It makes sense. And when I came back, my one of the supervisors, he was like, "Viv, your team out, your chief outside," which basically means that I was the one being the waitress on the terrace, and that was so nice because it was still pretty busy, and it's still a lot of people, and I still have to communicate with people, but there's okay, sorry, ambulance. There's so much more, literally so much more room outside. Like, you have the sunshine, because I worked from 1 to 11. I had the sunshine, and I had the wind, and I had the rain. Oh my goodness, I think I had rain 3 times that day. So 3 times I was actually soaking wet, but still it was kind of a necessary thing almost. Like, I really needed that. I really needed that to help me transition into going back to crowded work. So I and also when you're chief terrace, that's not the official title, but he called me chief terrace, and I kind of like that. When you're chief terrace, you're on your own little island, because you're basically doing one job, and when you're inside, sometimes the kitchen bell will ring, and you have to run to the kitchen, and you have to run to the bar. And when you're outside, you cannot, because you don't hear the kitchen bell and you cannot see the bar. So then it's kind of calm, focusing on just one job. So when I started working at my new job, I was actually terrified of being chief terrace, but now I quite liked it. Like, I liked how accessible and how what's the English word for this? How I don't know how to say this, but basically how I could focus on just the one thing, just the one task, and just doing that waitressing job, and not all other things. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. So it was also a learning experience for me to see that A, I needed more time, and B, I could take that time even while doing my job. And I also really want to clarify that I don't mean any of that in a negative way. I mean, yes, of course I'm processing, and of course I'm sad, and of course I'm happy at times, and of course there's a lot going on in my mind, because that's what happens when something like this is very recent still, like losing your grandmother. Yes, it has an impact on you, but I don't mean that that's a negative thing, because I'm also happy kind of to go through these emotions, because it means and it shows me that she was a really important person in my life, and that is totally normal and totally okay, and I'm not upset about that at all. It's just, yeah, it's kind of odd to go through anxiety again. Yeah, it's kind of odd to go through this anxiety again. Let me just make a point out of that, and that is also okay. Like, just because it's normal doesn't mean that it cannot be hard, of course. And I've also been experiencing quite a lot of anxiety this week, where I would notice again that I wanted to hide and that I wanted to ignore my feelings by multitasking and doing crafting and Netflix, or Netflix and video games, just so that I wouldn't feel these things. But I'm learning that that does not help me. Oh, what an insight. Who would have thought that ignoring your feelings was a bad thing to do? No, I'm kidding, but I know that I talked about this on Instagram and that it may have sounded very negative, like, boy, oh boy, my anxiety is back, but it's not necessarily a bad thing, because it's ups and downs, and that is simply part of life, as well as part of my learning process. So Monday back to work was very weird. I actually wrote down that I had rain on my head 4 times, but we did laugh a lot. Like, I'm also trying to write these things down. For example, a coworker of mine, he had to serve the food, and he was like, Viv, I'm not going outside in this rain. And I actually grabbed an umbrella, and it was just the two of us under the umbrella, and the guests, they laughed so much because it must have looked very funny. Like, we were like, we don't even care anymore. If we have to go outside, we're going to use an umbrella. So that was kind of funny. And then on Tuesday I also had to work, but it was a lot better already, because you're just slowly getting used to it again. Wednesday, work again. I even went to the hairdressers in the morning, because my bangs, I couldn't see anymore. And the good thing is, like, I always hate going to hairdressers, but this was a good experience, because it only took 2 minutes. Like, she literally chopped off the hair in my face and I was gone again, and I didn't have to pay. She was like, it's okay like this, like, we'll see you again next time. Like, that's such I don't know, it just makes me happy. I mean, normally it would have been like 5 or 6 or 7 euros, but still, that was a little lucky something. Thursday was also a really, really fun day, because I got to see my best friends again from high school. 2 of them live in Rotterdam, which is a big city here in the Netherlands. So I took a train and a tram, and then I was there. But I had to wear a face mask, which is, I can tell you, it's a lot. I don't know how people do that every day. It's kind of anxiety inducing, because it literally takes your breath away. But again, learning experience, and so worth it, because, as I said, I got to see my friends again, and it was such a fun day. We were planning on watching Prison Break, the final season. It's so bad. I don't know why they made another season, but before we watched it, we actually talked for literal hours. I hadn't seen my friends in months. It happens like that every time. We don't live that far apart, but for some reason our schedules are just not a match. So we didn't see each other for quite a few months, and then when we meet, it's as if I spoke to them yesterday. It's so relaxed. It's so I love them so much. I'm so happy that we've been friends for 13 years now. Unlucky 13, but they really are my closest friends, and also a little bit my only friends, because I don't have that many friends, but they are, like, yeah, they're just really, really good girls. So it was so nice to, like, be on the same level as we always were, even with so much time in between. So that was my Thursday. On my Friday, I had to go to therapy first, which was a little bit difficult, because even this week, I just told you, has been hard, but for some reason I cannot talk about that at therapy. Like, I will tell her that it has been hard, but I cannot show it, and I kind of lock that anxiety away. So she's like, you're telling me that that it has been a hard week for you, but you don't look that broken up. And I'm like, I know, because I'm very good at hiding it. So my goal is, I will see her again in 2 weeks, and my goal is to actually start the session by telling her that after I had the therapy, I really had some sort of an anxiety breakdown, because that is what happens. I sit there in that chair and I'm so busy with gritting my teeth. Is that the correct way to say it? Like biting my teeth, holding everything in. And then when I come home, I have a headache. I have restless legs because that's what happens when you hold in your emotions, kids. It doesn't work. Like, your emotions come up one way or another, and this time they came up fairly quickly. I didn't cry, it's just like restless legs and stuff like that. But it can also happen that they come out days later, and that I will feel like an emotional wreck. So I'm going to tell her that I want to tell her that I feel okay enough to open up to her, but I haven't found a way to actually let everything out. Like, I'm so good at talking about these things, I completely disassociate from my feelings. But that's another learning process, and she's quite a new therapist for me, so maybe it's also a trust thing, I don't know, but we will figure it out. And Friday afternoon, Gijs, my boyfriend's friends came to Bereda, and I was allowed to come for once. Gijs and I have been together for 7 years almost. Is that correct? Yeah, almost 7 years. But whenever he sees his friends, it's like no girls allowed. But today on Friday I was allowed to come, and I had so much fun. These 3 guys are the most social ones. 2 out of the 3 also have a girlfriend, so it sounds odd, but they know how to talk to me. Like, another part of Gijs's friends, they are kind of like scared of girls, so whenever I'm with them, it's kind of awkward because they don't know what to ask me. But these guys have had girlfriends for like 10 years, so talking to me isn't scary to them, so they make me feel super welcome, and they talk to me and they joke with me, and I would describe them as cheeky. Like, I really like the word cheeky, but it also describes them pretty well. They just make me feel super welcome, and I was kind of afraid of being like an extra. Like, I was afraid of being a +1, but they made me feel like I wasn't just Gijs's girlfriend, but also they liked having me there. So that was really, really good. We first went to a brewery. Is that the right word? I have to ask. Beer. This is a trippy word. Beer brewery. That's in Breda. And they also serve beers. So we had some beers, and the sun started shining. We sat outside, had some nachos. It was super, super nice. And then we walked to the city center. And what was also nice about it is that it's kind of like a hidden gem. Like, it's just outside the city center, and there was only 4 tables or something. So it was really quiet, actually. And of course, it's nice when you're having a beer when there's more people around. But for me, anxiety-wise, this was a good start of the day, because I could just focus on the company and not the crowdedness, if that makes sense. So there's that. And then what else? Oh yeah, we went to the city center and had dinner, actually. Felt so grown up going out for dinner. Oh yeah, I also went out for dinner with my friends the day before. So I had quite the week. My friends and we went to this super cheap Italian place that has the best pastas. And that was good, but obviously like, these kind of social things are still a thing for me, as in anxiety-wise. So for me to go out twice in 2 days, that's a really, really big step. And I survived, and I had so much fun. And of course, there was a time where I was like, when I would go to the toilet or to the bathroom, that was nice, because you just have a moment to take a deep breath, but it wasn't as necessary as it has always been. So I really feel that I do not acknowledge my own growth enough. But that was really a big thing for me. Like, 2 days in a row. Normally I would need a week at least to catch my breath again. And now I survived both days without anything like traumatic anxiety-wise. So big thing. I also had a lot of fun. We had dinner again. And they had to go home with the train. So we didn't make it that late. Like 12 or something, but then Gijs and I sat on a terrace and just drank something and did some people watching, and that was a lot of fun, because Gijs and we go out for dinner together, but we never really go into the city center, like drinking together, watching the crowds. So that was a kind of a holiday experience almost, you know, like on a holiday you don't need an excuse to sit down somewhere and drink a glass of wine, and now we also didn't need an excuse. We were just there and kind of enjoying ourselves. So that was really good. Obviously, Saturday was a hangover day, I'm not gonna lie. We did absolutely nothing, just laid on the couch, watched videos, watched Netflix. I did some crafting in the evening, which was good because my anxiety started coming out. I had successfully been hiding from it the entire day, and then at night, of course, restless legs again, and yeah, I needed a moment. So then I decided to do some crafting, which was good. And I think that also helped me because I feel a lot better today. Still anxious, but a lot better. And the sun is shining, and Gijs and I had so many plans for today of like working on videos, working on YouTube, but Gijs and I actually started the day by sleeping in and then sitting in the sun in our garden for like an hour and a half just reading. And even though I felt a little bit guilty because I had all of these plans, I was so happy because it really felt like a little mini holiday. Like, we don't do that as often anymore, just sit down together and read a book, not worry about the world. So it was really nice. It was really nice. I'm having a hard time pronouncing my words. So that was our Sunday. I'm now home alone because my boyfriend is at a soccer barbecue. Like, he has a barbecue with his soccer friends, and then I'm gonna go running a little bit later, and I'm gonna make some dinner for myself and have a ladies' night with the cats, hopefully in my craft room. And that has been my week. Next week is gonna be quite busy again. I have 4 days of work, but I'm thinking I should be okay. And then Gijs wants to go pick up how would you call this in English? I don't know. A rainwater barrel. So a barrel that collects rainwater for our plants on Friday. So I will have to see when I can do what. But I am hoping to do the Patreon live stream on Thursday, because most of the votes were either for Thursday, last time I checked, for Thursday or for Sunday. But I actually think that Thursday should be nice. For me, at least, like planning wise. Also because Gijs is not home, and that makes it easier for me to talk and stuff like that. So I think that it will be Thursday, but I'll let you know up front. Wow, I talked for a very long time. I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of chatty little talking you through my week. I know my week is not that interesting, like I'm not a vlogger or anything, but sometimes I really like listening to someone else talk, and I hope that that was this video for you as well. But yeah, if you liked it, let me know. If you didn't like it, also feel free to let me know, because it would be a waste if I would use energy on something that no one likes. So I'll talk to you guys again soon. Have a lovely week. Thank you again for being my patron, and stay crafty. Okay, bye.